Welcome to De-Stress Your Business, the podcast where we show you how to get incredible results in your business without constant stress. I'm Paddy Mann, a serial entrepreneur and founder at AirManual, and I'm flying solo today on the podcast as my co-host Alexis he's at an event. So, question to you: when was the last time that you or your business owner took a 4-week holiday? Now, hopefully the answer is about 6 months ago. That's when I enjoyed my own 4-week holiday, and Alexis was away for 6 weeks at the same time. Unfortunately, this isn't the norm. Business owners are often heavily involved in the business, and the idea of taking 4 weeks off sounds like a fantasy. Indeed, many business owners who have never had a holiday, and many other business owners who have occasional holidays, but they struggle to switch off during those holidays. They're checking their emails, they're responding to queries, they're not 100% present with their friends or their family during that time. So on today's episode, I'm going to be looking at why it's important for business owners to take holidays, both for the business owner and for the business, why it should be 4 weeks, and there is a good reason for that, and how a business owner can actually go about doing it. So if you are the business owner and you want to take a longer holiday, or if you are in a business where you know your business owner is not taking long holidays, what are the practical steps that you can take to get into a position where it can become reality? Okay, so let's look at why it's important for business owners to take holidays, both for the business owner and for the business. Well, it's important for you personally, if you're the business owner, or for the person who is a business owner, to take holidays for all the obvious reasons. It doesn't work in the long term to be constantly working at 100 miles an hour. You need to take that time off to recharge your batteries. You need to enjoy life experiences. Life isn't just about work. I think for the vast majority of us, even as business owners, as entrepreneurs, we love work, we love the adrenaline you can get from it, we love the relationships we have at work, but it's not just about that. A lot of us are in this position because we are looking for freedom, we're looking for financial freedom, we're looking for not having to be in a place where we are always working. We want to have the option, the choice to sometimes work, but it's not the be all and end all, and we want to have life experiences. A big part of why I'm doing it, why I'm a business owner, is I want that freedom to be with my family and to have great experiences while my kids are growing up. I want to have those memories of the time where we've have been on road trips, where we've been up mountains, where we've been into incredible caves, where we've done incredible challenges, or just relaxed together. Those times on the beach where you've kind of gone snorkeling or read a book. These things are important. They're the things that the people around you will remember. They're the things that you will remember and value later in life, and as well as when you are there. And it's also important that you're taking that time to invest in those relationships you have outside of your work. So if you have family, if you have a wife, a husband, a partner, then they need some of your time. They need you to invest in them, and you need it too. If you do not invest in those relationships, then over time they won't pay off anywhere near as well as they could. And there are sadly so many stories of business owners, of entrepreneurs who have put their head down and have told themselves that they are doing it for their family, for their other half. But by the time they've achieved what they think they needed to achieve, it's too late and the relationship has already died. So incredibly important that you are taking time as you go, that you're treating your business as a marathon that needs you to take water breaks and to refresh, not as a sprint all the time. So that's the kind of the obvious stuff, why it's important for individuals. But what about the business? Why is it important to the business that the business owner goes away for 4 weeks? Well, the problem is if you don't take time away from the business, then you are leaving yourself in a position where the business can be dependent on you. So by taking a holiday, by taking some time away from the business, you will force yourself to find ways to remove yourself as a bottleneck. You are going away for 4 weeks, so you need to find a way that the business can operate without being blocked because you're not there. You will actually, by removing yourself as a bottleneck, as a dependency, you'll often be able to improve your offering to your customers. And we had this great example with a printing company who was reliant on the business owner to do quotes every time. And there was a few reasons for this. The business owner thought it was really important. There was a high risk of things going wrong if he didn't do it, and felt it was difficult to delegate. But by removing himself as the person who had to do it, not only did it free up his time and mean that he could take a time away from the business, but it also meant that the quality of service that was coming to leads and customers improved. Because firstly, he wasn't the bottleneck, so they got responses much quicker. So instead of having to wait a few days because he had way too much to do, they were getting responses within a couple of hours. Now that is transformational for a printing business. Suddenly you can imagine a lead talking to two different businesses. One of them responds in 3 days, one of them responds in 2 hours. Which business will you go with? It doesn't matter about the price. You will go for the one that responds quickly. So suddenly the leads and customers are actually getting a better service. And that can happen in all sorts of other places, because once you're able to delegate it, you're able to make sure that things happen quickly, that there aren't bottlenecks, that there aren't drop balls when people are away or sick or busy on other activities. You can make sure that any best practices or steps which are important not to forget get systemized and do happen every time. You can build in ways of doing quality control and so on. So not only are you removing yourself as a bottleneck, but you're actually able to improve the quality of what you do for your customers. Another benefit of removing yourself from the business for a 4-week holiday is that you give your employees the space to thrive. Now, as much as you hate to admit it, if you are in a position where you are essentially making your business dependent on you being there, then you're holding your employees back. You're basically not giving them the opportunity to grow into the roles that you have taken because you haven't found a way to delegate. You haven't found a way to open it up to hold other people accountable to it. Now, doing these things doesn't mean that you have to completely step away and never do those tasks again, but it does mean that other people can help, and it means that those people can grow into roles which you are currently protecting. Another benefit we've got here is that it will remove the risk that is associated with you becoming unexpectedly unavailable. So in this case, we're talking about planning a holiday, giving yourself time, planning it for perhaps in the summer. It's currently January, so you've got if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, you've got a few months to plan at least. This could be planned, and you've got ways to remove all the risk, all the pain that might be associated with you not being there. But there will be times in your business where you become unavailable just at the drop of a hat. You get sick, you get winter vomiting, you get literally hit by a bus, or a family member passes away, or whatever else, and you need to take time away. By putting these processes in place so that you can take a holiday, you are also removing that risk and the associated stress. Oh my God, the stress of when you are feeling sick, or you're injured, or you need to be with your family, and yet your business is dependent and it's causing you financial pain and others huge amounts of pain within the business because you're not there. So you're removing that risk, you're removing that huge amount of stress. A final benefit I'll chuck in is doing these things, removing yourself as a dependency, so your business can operate without you being there, will increase your business value. And it's not by £10 or even your salary, it's by 20%. We know this because we've worked with people who are responsible for essentially helping other businesses to get sold, and when they see that the processes are lacking, when they see that there are dependencies on people like the business owner, then they try and get these things solved before selling. And the impact is pretty much always around 20% or more. It's a huge impact. It may be the quickest way for you to increase your business value this year. Cool, so loads of benefits. There's benefits for the business owner. They've got, obviously, you need to take holidays. I shouldn't have to tell you this. But is even more valuable? It's definitely hugely valuable for the business as well, and for the business, for the employees, for your customers, everyone involved. Hugely valuable. But why 4 weeks? Why not 2 weeks or 10 weeks or anything else? Well, frankly, I have nothing against 10 weeks. As I shared, Alexis took 6 weeks last year, had a great time. Taking more than 4 weeks, definitely. That's great. But you might feel that going from 0 to taking off months and months is a step too far. You might worry about the impact that has on the big projects you're involved in for improving the business. As I say, if you can, then great. But there's a reason why it's not less than 4 weeks, and that is, if you take 1 week or 2 weeks, the problem that you have is you are stepping away for a little bit, but it's very easy to not fully remove yourself from some of these processes. It's very easy to just basically put things on pause until you come back. And so you go away for 2 weeks and you've handed over some things, and so you've made some improvement. But there are a lot of things where you just go, don't worry, I'll come back and sort it then. And the issue is, one, you may still get interrupted on your holiday, and two, when you come back, it's gonna suck. When you I've done the bit where you go away for 2 weeks, and then you spend literally 2 weeks getting to the point where you can think about normal work. And while it was nice to have a holiday and definitely important, those next 2 weeks are painful, stressful, and incredibly frustrating. And we want to avoid that, and we want to avoid things getting worse when you're not there. We want them to basically continue as normal. Sure, you might not have you focusing on big improvement projects, but all the standard things about delivering quality service to your customers, everything happening on time, bills getting paid, employees getting paid, customers getting quotes and invoices and being serviced and so on, all of these things should happen completely in your absence. And so 4 weeks is a great period of time, because it's a bit too long just to say, don't worry, wait till I come back. And it's a period of time where most things will actually happen. So you will need to pay your employees. That's something that happens every month. So you can't plan your holiday to avoid that thing. We're going to try and actually capture it in there. So don't go for 1 week. Don't go for 2 weeks. If you really want to get the most out of this, go for 4 weeks. And I'll say I took the idea from the fantastic book Run Like Clockwork by Mike Michalowicz. It's frankly a brilliant idea, and we recommend it to all business owners. Okay, so you understand now, hopefully, why it's important for the business owner, for the business, why we would say 4 weeks. Finally, so where do you start? How can a business owner actually get into a position where this feels possible, where it doesn't feel stressful? Well, the good news is that if you start now, it's January, and you're looking towards a summer holiday, then you've got time. This is not something that needs to be done over years, but it is something that does need more than a few weeks. So make sure you've got a few months, and then start looking at what you're currently doing, which others cannot already do, and write that list down. So you want to be looking at the things that you've been doing over the last day, last week, last month, and write down a list of all those tasks. Again, it's thinking of what are the tasks I do every day? What are the tasks I do weekly? What about bi-weekly? What about monthly? What about quarterly? And first, brain dump it out, get that list down on paper, and then over the next week or two, review that list and add to it when you spot those things that you've missed, because you will do. It's not a problem. You will forget some. Add them in as you spot them. Once you've got that list, you can focus on the ones which other people can't already do. And think about, what are the roles here? What are the job roles that I could be thinking about delegating to other people? As a business owner, one of the challenges we have is that we're often wearing a lot of hats. So we might be involved in sales and marketing and finance and HR. And it doesn't often work out so well to try and hand down everything we do to someone else. It's very hard to find other people that have all of these skills and will do it to the level, and frankly they'll find it confusing. If you can instead group it into different roles, so go, okay, well these roles would belong in with finance, these roles would belong with HR, these roles will belong with sales or marketing, then it helps you start thinking about, okay, who and where am I going to be delegating these to in the business. Once we've got that kind of that clarity, so we understand what needs to be delegated and roughly who it's going to go to, we can prioritize and go which are the most urgent, which will cause the most pain. Let's say, put yourself in the place where you go, if I imagined I had to actually go on a holiday, not in 3 or 4 months, but actually at the end of this week, which ones would be absolutely critical to get documented, and do those ones first. So prioritize hard. Make it, put that fake deadline in and pick the ones that will actually cause the most pain, because be realistic, there's every chance that some things won't get done by the time you go on holiday. You want to avoid that, but if you prioritize, then it won't be the most painful things. Then get documenting. So pick the most important one, document the high level steps, add in additional guidance where it would cause a lot of pain if there was a mistake, and then meet up with the person that you're going to hand it over to, and in a kind of collaborative session, actually do that handover and test that they understand it, test that they will be able to follow it. And before you go away, actually get them to run it without your support. Because that time where they go through that process and they've run through it and they didn't hit any hurdles, if they hit hurdles, that's fine, they can reach out to you and make tweaks. But at the point where they do it and they don't hit any hurdles, don't hit any blockers, don't cause any problems, then you know you're in a great place and you can trust them to do it while you're away. And then you just keep rinsing and repeating. You go through, pick the next processes, document at a high level, avoid documenting it in too much detail. It's a big mistake that a lot of people make. They try and document everything, every little tiny step, do it as high level as possible, and then get the person on the call and talk them through, make sure they understand it. Add detail if there is a big risk of a mistake being made, if that mistake would cause a lot of pain, but don't add a huge amount of details, assuming that they won't be able to do things which are intuitive, that they would actually be able to pick up just from the context. And that's it. That would be how you would do it, except there's one really important step that you need to do before you start looking at those tasks and everything else. And that is to book your holiday. So look at your diary, put it in the period that you're going to be off, pick those 4 weeks. If you want, actually get onto the the hotel websites, whatever, actually book it, that's even better. But at the very least, commit to those dates. Tell your family, agree with them that it's going to happen. Tell your employees, agree with them that it's going to happen, because that is the catalyst that will make things happen. If you make this a secret project, which you're going to try and do in the background, then you're going to struggle to make this a priority. You're going to feel stressed because it's really hard for you to explain to others about what you're doing and why. It's unclear why that's a priority. Whereas if you start by putting it in and explaining it, I don't think you're going to have to explain to your wife why you need a holiday, but explain to your employees both why it's important for you, but also how it's going to help them. Then it's going to be amazing, because they're going to understand it, they're going to buy into this being really valuable, and they're going to help support you. And together you're going to have this shared understanding that this is something really important for you and for your business. Okay, so that's it. So important for the business owner, important for the business, really valuable for the employees and for your customers. 4 weeks is important. If you can't do 4 weeks, then yes, 2 weeks is going to be way better than nothing or just 1 week. But try and make 4 weeks. There's huge value in it. And Then those key steps. Well, number one, as I say, book it in. Get that in the diary. Tell everyone about it. Then find those tasks that you can are going to be needing to hand over. Prioritize them. Document them. Hand them over to the right people. Test that they actually work before you go, and keep going until you're in a position where you know that all of those key tasks can happen without you. In terms of helpful resources, well, I mentioned the book Run Like Clockwork. That's got the fantastic idea of taking 4 weeks. I would recommend it. As a quicker read, I'd recommend our new Discover AirManual brochure. It's available as an online book, ebook, or downloadable PDF, and it covers the high-level steps that you would need to go through to essentially document any level of process and how to approach that. So I'd recommend that brochure, and it's available at airmanual.link/brochure. So http://airmanual.link/brochure. As our regular listeners will know, we also run a weekly webinar, which is how to free up 15 hours per week and remove the constant stress of running a business without slowing down growth. That will also cover very similar areas. That will really show you how to free up your time, and the same approaches can be applied to freeing up your time, removing yourself as a dependency so you can be in a position to go on holidays. That webinar is typically every Wednesday at 1 p.m. UK time. Occasionally changes, so do check our website. You can find out more and register at www.airmanual.co/webinar. And a final note for our podcast listeners: as a new podcast, we do need your help. So if you find the content on this or any other episode really valuable, please just take 1 minute to leave an honest review. It will help the podcast to get more visibility, and that will help us to help more people. Until next time, have fun.